Hello friends, welcome to my channel Financial Literacy with AB. My name is Abhijit Biswas and I am on a mission to help laymen get financially literate. To be a part of this mission, pause this video right away and subscribe to my channel. Also, hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. In this video, I am going to take you through how a startup evolves into a listed company. So, without further delay, let's get started. Meet Rohan Agarwal, a promising entrepreneur with a simple business idea of manufacturing highly fashionable organic cotton trousers. The designs are stylish, pricing is eye-catching, and the quality is of top class. He is pumped with confidence that his business will be up and running, and he is keen to turn this business idea into a reality. Like every typical entrepreneur, he also encounters the problem of funding. That is, where would he get the funding from? Though he comes from a very rich family, he has no prior business experience. As a result, he finds it difficult to attract any thoughtful investor at this early stage of business. He approaches his family and friends to pitch the business idea for funding. Fortunately, it clicks. Finally, his dream comes true and he floats the company named Agarwal Textile Private Limited and gets it registered with an authorized capital of rupees 10 crore, having 1 crore shares of rupees 10 each. Now let us understand some of the terminologies that are associated with a startup. First, let us talk about authorized shares. What is meant by authorized shares? Authorized shares basically refer to the maximum number of shares that a company can issue to raise equity capital. And what is authorized capital? Authorized capital is nothing but authorized number of shares multiplied by the face value of shares. Next terminology that we will talk about is angel investor. If you recall, Rohan took funds from two of his friends. Now these two friends have invested in Rohan's business at a stage where the business has not yet started earning revenue. That means they have invested in pre-revenue stage and they have taken bet on a new inexperienced entrepreneur. So investors who invest at the pre-revenue stage of a business and who take a bet on new fresh entrepreneurs are called angel investors. Here you need to understand one thing very important, and that thing is the money that the angel investors invest into a business is not treated as a loan, rather it is treated as an equity. That means angel investors are treated as the owners of the business. Next we'll talk about the seed fund. What is seed fund? If you refer back to the story that we just narrated, Rohan is the promoter and the two friends that we talked about, they are the angel investors. So Rohan along with the angel investors, they have raised in total, or they have contributed in total rupees 5 crore as the capital. This initial money that the business has received from Rohan and two of his friends is called the seed fund or the initial seed capital. Next we'll talk about paid off share capital. Now we just spoke about 5 crores that Rohan and two of his friends have contributed or invested in the business. And that is nothing but the seed capital or seed fund. Once that seed fund hits the company's bank account, that money is referred to as the initial paid up share capital of the company. Next, we'll talk about share certificates. What is meant by share certificate? Rohan and two of his friends have invested money into the business. Now, in return for that seed investment or seed capital, Rohan and two of his friends, that is the promoter and the angel investors, will be issued share certificates of the company. And these share certificates basically represent the ownership in the company. That means by virtue of holding this share certificate, you are eligible to get ownership in the business. So this is what we mean by share certificate. Then let us talk about the valuation. Before I tell you what should be the valuation of the company or what should be the value of the company at this juncture, let me ask you, what do you think should be the value of the company at this? Remember, business has not yet started its operation. It has just got the seed fund, and that's it. That's what they have, or that's what the business has, right? So at this point in time, what should be the value of the business? You can write your answer in the comment box. I'll check your comments and reply. Please write your answers in the comment box. What do you think should be the value of the business at this point in time? I know many of you have written it correctly. The value of the business at this point in time should be rupees 5 crore. Why? Because the only asset that the business has at this point in time is cash worth rupees 5 crore. So there is no doubt that the valuation of the business at this point in time should be rupees 5 crore. And finally, let us look into the initial shareholding. If you recall, the company has got total 1 crore authorized shares. Out of these 1 crore authorized shares, Rohan, that's the promoter, gets 45 lakh shares. Why? Because Rohan has contributed 4.5 crore rupees, and each share is for 10 rupees. So for 4.5 crore rupees, Rohan should get 45 lakh shares. And two of his friends, they have invested 25 lakh rupees each. So if one share is for 10 rupees, so for 25 lakh rupees contributed, they should get 2,50,000 shares each, right? So 2,50,000 shares each makes it 5 lakh shares, and 45 lakh shares have been issued to Rohan, that's the promoter. So 45 lakh plus 5 lakh makes it 50 lakh. So you can see the shareholding pattern in the table provided. Promoter holds 45 lakh shares, that is in percentage term 90% of the total shares, because total shares issued is 50 lakh. Out of that, promoter holds 45 lakh shares, so promoter holds 90% of the total shares. Angel investor 1 holds 2,50,000 shares, that is basically 5% of the total shares, and angel investor 2 also holds 2,50,000 shares, which is 5% of the total share. So 90% plus 5% plus 5% makes it 100%. So this is the shareholding pattern as of now. Hope you have understood these basic terminologies. If you have understood, please write in the comment box understood, or you can write super clear if you have no doubts about the terminologies that I have talked about. If you have any specific doubt, you can also mention that in the comment box. Later on, I'll go through the comments and reply accordingly. Now let me go back to the dashboard again. So here we go. We are back onto the dashboard. So business has got started. Now, as and when the business starts growing, there would be requirement for fund. Now there are different ways that a company can raise funding. So going forward, we'll talk about different ways in which the company, especially a startup, gets its funding. So let us first talk about the VC funding or venture capital funding. We will explain these funding or different types of fundings that the company will avail as it grows, and we'll continue with this story and try and correlate these funding scenarios with the stories so that it becomes easier for you to understand. So let us continue with our story. Now, backed by a good company structure and a healthy seed fund, Rohan starts his business operation. He wants to move cautiously and hence decides to open just one small manufacturing unit and one store to retail his products. His hard work ultimately pays off and the business starts to pick up. At the end of the first 2 years of the operations, the company starts to break even. Rohan is no longer a new and inexperienced business owner. Instead, he is much more knowledgeable about his business and of course he is now much more confident. With optimism, Rohan now wants to expand his business by adding one more manufacturing unit and a few additional retail stores in the city. He chalks out the plan and figures out that a fresh investment of rupees 7.5 crore would be needed to go for the expansion. He is now in a better position as compared to what he was 2 years ago. Big difference is the fact that now his business is generating revenues. Healthy inflow of revenues validates the business and its offering. He is now in a situation where he can approach professional investors for investing in his business. He meets one such professional investor who fortunately agrees to invest rupees 7.5 crores in the business against 7.5 lakh shares in the company. So, as I narrated, Rohan has got one venture capitalist convinced for investing in his company rupees 7.5 crore against 7.5 lakh shares in the company. Now, this funding that Rohan gets at this juncture is basically referred to as a Series A funding. Let us look at what this Series A funding is all about. As I just told, the investor that Rohan approached has agreed to invest 7.5 crore rupees against 7.5 lakh shares in the company. Now, the investor who typically invests in such an early stage of a business is called a venture capitalist. Who is a venture capitalist? A venture capitalist is an investor who invests in the early stage of a business, and the money that the business gets at this early stage from venture capitalists is referred to as Series A funding. So what is Series A funding? Series A funding is the initial capital or initial investment that a business gets from venture capitalists. Now, after we have talked about Series A funding, let us look at how the shareholding pattern looks like. So the shareholding pattern looks like this. We know promoter holds 45 lakh shares. Angel investor 1 and angel investor 2, that is two friends of Rohan, they hold 2,50,000 shares each. And the venture capitalist has just invested rupees 7.5 crore against 7,50,000 shares in the company. So immediately after the funding, the venture capitalist has got 7,50,000 shares in the company. So if we add up these numbers of shares, the total is 57,50,000 shares. So after the first round of venture capital funding, the total number of shares that the company has issued is 57,50,000. And if you convert each shareholder's holdings into percentage, then promoter holds 78.26% of the total shares. Angel 1 and Angel 2, they hold 4.35% each of the total shares, and the venture capitalist holds 13.04% of the total shares. So this is the revised shareholding pattern immediately after the first round of venture capital funding. Now let us go back and check what the valuation looks like at this juncture. So I will talk about the valuation in two parts. That means what was the valuation of the company, or what was the value of the company immediately before this Series A funding, and what is the valuation of the company immediately after the Series A funding, and then we'll try and reconcile the post funding with the pre-funding. So let us get started with pre-funding valuation. Now if you recall, the venture capitalist has paid 7.5 crore rupees for 7.5 lakh shares, which basically means the venture capitalist has paid 100 rupees per share. That is nothing but 7.5 crore rupees divided by 7.5 lakh shares. That makes it 100 rupees per share. And if you recall, immediately before the funding exercise, the company had total 50 lakh shares outstanding, that is 45 lakh held by the promoter and 2.5 lakh held by each of the two angel investors. So total number of shares outstanding immediately prior to the funding was 50 lakh shares. So if one share is valued at 100 rupees, then for 50 lakh shares, what should be the valuation? Definitely it will be 50 crores, because 100 rupees into 50 lakh shares is nothing but 50 crores. So immediately prior to the funding, the value of the company was 50 crores. Is this point clear? If it is clear, just type super clear in the comment box. If you have any doubts, you can type that doubt in the comment box as well. When later on I'll go through the comments, I will reply. Now let us look at the post-funding valuation. If you recall, the initial valuation was 4.5 crore for the promoter's holding, 0.25 crore was the valuation for Angel 1, and 0.25 crore was the valuation for Angel 2. And initially there was no investment from venture capital, so it was zero. So altogether the initial valuation was 5 crore. Okay. And initial shareholding percentages we already looked at. Now if you see, the initial shareholding was 90% for promoter, 5% each for angel investors, and their initial valuation for the 90% shares that the promoter held was rupees 4.5 crore, and that for the angel investors was 0.25 crore each. The shareholding after 2 years is 78.26% for promoter, 4.35% each for the angel investors, and 13.04% is for the venture capitalists. This we have already seen. And what is the revised, valuation of these shareholdings? So since the promoter holds 45 lakh shares and each share is valued at 100 rupees, so naturally the valuation of promoter's holding is 45 crore rupees. Following the same logic, the valuation for the angel investors should be 2.5 crore rupees each, and the valuation for the venture capitalists holding is definitely 7.5 crores rupees, right? So if you add these revised valuations after 2 years, that adds up to rupees 57.5 crores. Now you observe something very interesting. The promoter's valuation has gone up 10 times. Similarly, the angel investors' valuation has also gone up 10 times. In case of startup, the promoter and the angel investors can significantly multiply their wealth by simply diluting their shareholdings. See, promoter had 90% shareholding initially. So after they took the venture capitalist into the shareholding pattern, the promoter shareholding got diluted to 78.26%. and for angel investors, their shareholdings got diluted to 4.35% from 5%. So by diluting their shareholdings, they have actually multiplied their wealth 10 times. So that's the beauty of a startup when it clicks. Now let us try and reconcile the post-funding valuation and pre-funding valuation. So post-funding valuation is very simple, is equal to pre-funding valuation plus VC funding. Post-funding valuation is equal to pre-funding valuation plus VC funding or venture capital funding. So post-funding valuation is pre-funding valuation plus venture capital funding. So what was the pre-funding valuation? The pre-funding valuation was rupees 50 crore. And how much is the VC funding? VC funding is rupees 7.5 crore. So 50 crore plus 7.5 crore is nothing but rupees 57.5 crore. That is the post-funding valuation. You can cross-check. The post-funding valuation was total 57.5 crore rupees. Okay. And that is what we have reconciled here. So post-funding valuation is equal to pre-funding valuation, that is rupees 50 crore plus VC funding, that is rupees 7.5 crore. So total 57 point. Hope it is clear. If it is clear, just type in the comment box super clear. I will look into all the comments later on. If you have any doubt at this point in time, you can write that in the comment box. I will reply accordingly. Let me go back to the dashboard once again. So we have covered the kickstart part and we have also covered the VC funding part. Let me proceed with the story and with further funding scenarios. So let us move to multi-source funding. Let us continue with the story. Things are going great for Agarwal Textile. Popularity of the product grows, translating into higher revenues. The management team also gets more professional and thereby increasing operational efficiency. And all these translate into higher profits. 3 more years pass by and the company is phenomenally successful. The company decides to have its retail presence in at least 3 more cities. To ensure retail presence across cities, the company also plans to increase the production capacity and hire more resources. The management estimates rupees 30 crore towards the capex requirement. Now, the company needs another 30 crore rupees for its capex requirement. Now, capex is a new term. Let us try and understand what is meant by capex. The expenditures that a company makes for expanding its business or its asset base are known as capital expenditure, which is simply abbreviated as capex. I repeat, the expenditures that a company makes for expanding its business or its asset base are called capital expenditures or simply capex. Now the question is, how do you fund this capex? How do you fund this capex? So let us look at what all different alternatives the company is actually considering for funding the capex. So company is basically considering 3 sources of funding the capex. One is internal accruals, the next one is Series B funding, and third one is debt. So let us look at each one of them in turns. So let us first look at internal accruals. What do I mean by internal accruals? By internal accruals, I mean the company can fund a part of its capex or capital expenditure requirement from the profit that it has already made in last couple of years. The company has made some profits over the last few years, and a part of that profit can be used for capex funding requirement, right? And when a company uses its past profit to fund its capex requirement, then that is called funding from internal accruals. So whatever profit they have generated internally, that is being used for funding the capital expenditure. That is what we mean by funding from internal accruals. Next, let us talk about Series B funding. The company can approach another venture capitalist, like they had approached the first venture capitalist. So they can approach another venture capitalist and raise another round of venture capital by allotting shares from the authorized shares capital, right? If you recall, the company still has got a lot of shares unissued. So company has got total authorized shares of 1 crore. Out of that, only 57.5 lakh shares have been issued. So remaining shares are still unissued. So they can issue further shares from that to a venture capitalist, right? And if they do so, that means if they take funding from another venture capitalist, that is referred to as Series B funding. So company can approach another venture capitalist and raise another round of VC funding by allotting shares from authorized capital, right? And this funding would be called Series B funding. Now let us look at the third option that the company is considering, that is debt. What do I mean by debt? The company can approach a bank and seek a loan. That means company can simply borrow from a bank. And bank would be happy to give money to the company as the company is doing fairly well, right? And this loan that the company takes is nothing but a debt. The loan or the borrowing is called debt. So hopefully you have understood the three sources of funding that the company is considering. If you have understood, just type in the comment box understood. If you have any doubts, you type in the comment box your doubt. I will go through the comments later on and reply accordingly. So let us go back to the dashboard again. So we were talking about multi-source funding. In that, we have narrated the story. We have talked about capex. We have talked about what are the different alternatives that the company is actually contemplating for funding the capex requirement. And now we will look at what is the actual funding that the company has decided to go for. So actual funding decided. The company finally decides to exercise all three options that it was considering. And what is the final funding mix? The company sources rupees 6 crore from internal accruals. 6 crores from the profit that the company has made in past. Company goes for a Series B funding of rupees 14 crore from another venture capitalist against 7 lakh shares. So the company, gets another venture capitalist who is ready to put in rupees 14 crore against 7 lakh shares. And the third source is borrowing from a bank. The company raises rupees 10 crore from a bank as loan. So if you just see, the company was in need of rupees 30 crore. So out of 30 crore, 6 crore rupees comes from internal accrual. 14 crore rupees comes from Series B funding from another venture capitalist, and 10 crore rupees comes from banker in the form of a loan or a debt. So 6 plus 14 plus 10 makes it 30. Now let us look at the valuation. Again, I will talk about the valuation in three parts. What was the valuation immediately prior to this funding exercise? And what is the valuation immediately after the funding exercise? And then we will reconcile the pre and post number, or post and pre number, whichever way you talk about it. So, can anyone tell me what was the valuation of the company immediately prior to this funding exercise? You can write your answer in the comment box. I know many of you have written it correctly. If I have to answer the question, what was the valuation of the company immediately prior to the funding exercise, then The hint for the answer lies in the fact that the second venture capitalist has paid rupees 14 crore for 7 lakh shares, which basically means he has paid rupees 200 per share. That is, rupees 14 crore divided by 7 lakh shares is nothing but rupees 200. So the venture capitalist has paid 200 rupees per share. And if you recall, immediately prior to this funding exercise, the company had total 57.5 lakh shares outstanding. So if one share is priced at 200 rupees, then 57.5 lakh shares should be priced at 115 crore rupees. That is 57.5 lakh shares multiplied by rupees 200. So rupees 115 crore was the valuation of the company immediately prior to the funding exercise, right? So when I'm talking about valuation of the company, I'm talking about the valuation of the equity of the company. Now let us look at the post-funding valuation. Now see the post-funding valuation. Promoter has got 45 lakh shares. Each share is valued at 200 rupees. So 45 lakh shares into 200 rupees makes it 90 crore rupees. That is the valuation of promoter's holding. Angel 1 and Angel 2, they hold 2,50,000 shares each. So 2,50,000 shares multiplied by 200 rupees per share makes it rupees 5 crore. So angel investors valuation is 5 crores each, right? And VC1 holds 7,50,000 shares. So 7,50,000 shares into 200 rupees makes it 15 crore rupees. So VC1 shareholding is valued at 15 crore rupees. And VC2's shareholding is definitely valued at 14 crore rupees because VC2 has purchased 7 lakh shares by paying rupees 14 crore. So if you add up all these valuations, that is 90 crore plus 5 crore plus 5 crore plus 15 crore plus 14 crore makes it 129 crore rupees. So the post-funding valuation is rupees 129 crore, right? Or you can cross-verify this. Post-funding, the company's total number of shares outstanding is 64.5 lakh shares, right? So 64.5 lakh shares multiplied by 200 rupees makes it rupees 129 crore. Now if you quickly see the reconciliation, pretty simple reconciliation. Post-funding valuation is pre-funding valuation plus equity funding by VC2, that is venture capitalist 2. So pre-funding valuation was rupees 115 crore plus VC funding is 14 crore. So that makes it 129 crore. Rupees 129 crore. Okay. Hopefully it's clear. If it is clear, type in the comment box clear. Stop the video or pause the video and type in the comment box clear. If you have any doubt at this point in time, do mention your doubt in the comment box. I'll go through the comments and later on answer your queries. So let us go back to the dashboard again. So we have completed Kickstart, we have completed VC funding, then we have also completed multi-source funding. Now we will move to PE funding. Let us continue with this story. Few years go by and the company's success story continues. With growing success of the company, the ambitions are also growing. The company decides to raise the bar and it decides to diversify into manufacturing and retailing, fashion, accessories, designer, cosmetics, and perfumes. The capex requirement for this new ambition is estimated to be rupees 60 crore. The company does not want to raise money through debt this time around because debt requires interest payment, and interest payment eats away the profit that the company generates. So as an alternative, the company approaches a PE investor for funding. So now we come across a new term called PE or private equity. So let us understand what is meant by private equity. PE investors are quite technically sound. They are highly qualified and they have excellent professional background. They are experienced investors with high qualifications. They invest large amounts of money, and second part is more important. They place their own people in the company's board so that they can indirectly control the way the business is managed, or they place their people in the board so that they can steer the company according to their direction, right? So if you continue with this story, the company approached a PE investor and the company could strike a deal with that PE investor wherein the company got the PE investors to invest rupees 60 crore against 20 lakh shares. So the company approached the PE investor and the PE investor has agreed to invest rupees 60 crore against 20 lakh shares. Let us see what happens next. So now we will talk about the valuation, right? We'll talk about the valuation at this juncture. Again, as usual, we'll talk about valuation in three parts: pre-funding valuation, post-funding valuation, and then reconciliation. Now let me ask you this question. Immediately prior to this PE funding, what was the valuation of the company? Think and write your answer in the comment box. I think many of you have written it correctly. See, the PE investor has paid rupees 60 crore for 20 lakh shares, which basically means he has paid rupees 300 per share, because rupees 60 crore divided by 20 lakh shares gives you rupees 300 per share. And if you recall, immediately prior to this PE funding, the company had 64.5 lakh shares outstanding. So 64.5 lakh shares multiplied by 300 rupees per share gives you rupees 193.5 crore. So the pre-funding valuation for the company was rupees 193.5 crore. Now just type in your comment box, pause this video and type in your comment box how many of you got it right. I'll check these comments later on and reply. The pre-funding valuation was 193.5 crore rupees. Now let us see what is the post-funding valuation. Post-funding valuation is rupees 253.5 crore. Let us see how it is arrived at. See, promoter holds 45 lakh shares and each share is valued at 300 rupees. So that makes it 135 crore rupees. Angel 1 and Angel 2, they hold 2,50,000 shares each. So 2,50,000 shares multiplied by rupees 300 makes it 7.5 crore rupees. So Angel 1 and Angel 2, their holdings are valued at 7.5 crore rupees each. VC1's holding is valued at 22.5 crore rupees, that is 7,50,000 shares into rupees 300. Similarly, VC2's valuation is 21 crore rupees, that is 7 lakh shares into 300 rupees, and PE investor has invested 60 crore against 20 lakh shares, right? So the total 135 plus 7.5 plus 7.5 plus 22.5 plus 21 and plus 60 makes it 253.5 crore. So post-funding valuation is 253.5 crore. The other way you can cross-verify this number like this. So after funding, the total number of shares outstanding is 84,50,000 shares. So 84,50,000 shares into 300 rupees per share will give you 253.5 crore rupees. Now let us quickly look at the reconciliation. Post funding valuation, that is post PE funding valuation, is equal to pre PE funding valuation plus P funding. So pre-PE funding valuation was rupees 193.5 crore plus the PE funding is rupees 60 crore. So that makes it rupees 253.5 crore. Hopefully this is clear. If it is clear, type in the comment box super clear. And if you have any question, any query at this point in time, type that question or that query in the comment box. I'll go through the comments later on and respond to your queries. Now let me go back to the dashboard again. So we have completed Kickstart part, we have completed the VC funding part, we have also completed the multi-source funding part. The last thing that we completed was PE funding. Now we'll move to IPO. This is another way the company can raise money. 5 years after the PE investment, the company has progressed really well. It has successfully diversified its products portfolios. Plus, it has a presence across all the major cities in the country. Revenues are good, profitability is stable, and investors are happy. However, Rohan, that's the promoter, does not want to settle in just for this. He now aspires to go international. He wants his brand to be available across all major international cities. He wants at least one outlet in all major cities of the developed countries. This means he needs to invest in market research to understand what people likes in other countries. He also needs to invest in more people, and also the manufacturing capacity that his company has needs to be improved and increased. Besides, he needs to be investing into real estate space because he plans to have his retail presence in all major cities of the developed countries. So he needs to invest even in real estate space. And considering all these investment requirements, this time around the capex needed is estimated to be quite large, and it is pegged at rupees 100 crore. So the capex requirement for achieving the plans that Rohan has set for himself and the company is rupees 100 crore, quite a big amount. And the company has decided to raise this money through an initial public offer using a book building process. So new terminologies, initial public offer using a book building process. Let us understand what is meant by initial public offer through a book building process. When a company files for an IPO, that is initial public offer, they have to offer their shares to general public. When a company files for an IPO or when a company goes for an initial public offer, the company actually needs to offer its shares to the general public. General public will subscribe if they want. There is no obligation to the shares that are offered to them at a certain price. Now, why is it called initial public offering or initial public offer? Because the company is offering these shares for the first time to the public, it is called initial public offer. Continuing with our story, the company offers 10 lakh shares at a price band of rupees 950 to rupees 1050 through book building process. The issue got fully subscribed, that means public subscribed for that issue. And finally, rupees 100 was decided to be the cutoff price. Now, few more terminologies we have come across. One is price band, the second one is book building, and third one is cutoff price. Let us understand what all of these mean. First, let us look at price band. What is price band? Price band is nothing but the price range within which the general public can bid for shares during the book building phase. The lower bound of the price band is known as the floor price, and the upper bound of the price band is known as the cap price. The example that we took, or the reference that we made for the company in our story, the price band was rupees 950 to rupees 1050. So 950 was the floor price and 1050, that is rupees 1050 was the cap price. Now let us look at what is meant by book building. Book building is basically, in simple words, book building is basically auction of shares, wherein general public can bid for shares at a price within the price band. In our example, the price band is from 950 to 1050. So if you want to invest, you can bid a price in between that range for certain number of shares. Suppose someone wants to buy 10,000 shares at a price of rupees 970. You can bid 970 because that falls within the price band, because lower bound is 950, upper bound is 1050. That's what they're saying. The book building is basically an auction of shares wherein general public can bid for shares at a price within the price band. Now, as the general public bids for shares, those bids are captured in a book and the book gets billed as the bidding continues, right? So as the general public bids for the shares, those bids are captured in a book and the book gets billed as the bidding continues during the book building phase or during the book building window. Generally, the book building window remains open for 3 days, right? Book building helps in determining the price and demand of a particular stock, and hence it is often referred to as a price and demand discovery process. Hopefully you have understood what is meant by book building, right? So in book building, what happens? The issuing company first decides a price band and asks the public to place bids within that price band, and that book building process remains open for a couple of days, generally 3 days, right? And as and when the general public bids, those bids gets captured in a book and that books keeps on building as the bidding continues, right? Once the bidding gets closed, then the company gets to know the demand and the price at which maximum number of public investors have bidded, and accordingly they decide the final price for the IPO. So that is what we are going to talk about now, that is the cutoff price. What is cutoff price? Cutoff price is the final price decided post the closure of the book building window. If you recall, the price band was rupees 950 to rupees 1050, and the final cutoff price that was decided after going through all the bids after the closure of the book building process, the final price that was decided was 1000 rupees. Okay, that is what we mean by the cutoff price. Hopefully you have understood these 3 terms: price band, book building, and cutoff price. If you have understood all these 3 terms, type in the comment box super clear. If you have any doubts, please mention your doubts in the comment box. I will reply accordingly. So let us go back to the valuation part. So initial public offer we have understood. Now we will look at the valuation. As usual, in 3 parts we'll talk about it. Pre-funding valuation, post-funding valuation, and reconciliation. So what was the pre-funding valuation? That means what was the valuation of the company immediately prior to this IPO exercise? Please type your answer in the comment box. Stop or pause this video and type your answer in the comment box. Think, what was the valuation immediately before this funding exercise? I know many of you have got it right. See, the IPO investors have paid rupees 1000 per share. And immediately before this IPO exercise, the company had total 84.5 lakh shares outstanding. So 84.5 lakh shares multiplied by 1000 rupees per share gives you rupees 845 crores. So immediately prior to this IPO funding exercise, the company's equity was valued at 845 crore. Now type in your comment box how many of you got it right. If you have got it right, just type in the comment box got it right. GIR. Type in the comment box GIR. Got it right. I will check all your comments later on. Please type GIR. Got it right. Post-funding valuation is rupees 945 crore. How do I get this 945 crore? Promoter holds 45 lakh shares. 45 lakh shares multiplied by 1000 rupees per share, that makes it 450 crore rupees. Angel 1 and Angel 2, their holdings can be valued very easily, because 2,50,000 shares into 1000 rupees, that makes it 25 crore rupees each for both the angel investor. VC1, the holding is 75 crore rupees, that is 7,50,000 shares multiplied by 1000 rupees. For VC2, the valuation is 7 lakh shares into rupees 1000, that is rupees 70 crore. For PE investor, the valuation is 200 crore rupees, that is 20 lakh shares into 1000 rupees per share. And for IPO investor, the valuation is 100 crore rupees, that is 10 lakh shares into 1000 rupees. So if you add 450 plus 25 plus 25 plus 75 plus 70 plus 200 plus 100, that makes it 945 crore rupees. So post-funding valuation is 945 crore rupees. Now let us quickly reconcile the pre and post. So post-IPO funding valuation is pre-IPO funding valuation plus IPO funding. So pre-funding valuation was rupees 845 crore and IPO funding was rupees 100 crore. So 100 crore plus 845 crore makes it rupees 945 crore. So that's the reconciliation. Hope you have got it. If you have got it, please type in the comment box, got it. So let me go back to the dashboard once again, and now we will talk about the final part, that is listing. Now let us talk about listing. Continuing with our story, 10 days after the closure of the IPO, the company gets its stock listed in BSE and NSE. Now let us try and understand what does listing actually mean. Listing a stock in a stock exchange means the stock is registered in a particular exchange for trading. And once a stock gets listed in a stock exchange, it becomes available to general public like you and me for trading in that particular stock exchange. That means once it gets listed, then anyone can buy and sell. That means if you want to buy, you can buy it from the stock exchange. If you want to sell, you can sell in the stock exchange. And in those transactions, the issuing company, the original issuing company, will not be involved. Hopefully, you have understood the concept of listing. With this, I have covered all the parts, and let me go back to the dashboard again. Hopefully, you enjoyed the session. You liked the video. If you have liked the content, if you have liked the video, please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. And if you think this video is worth sharing to your friends or to anyone whom you feel this video will be useful, please do share. Do comment and like the content just to give me encouragement for doing better work. And also let me know the topics on which in future you would like to see new videos, or the topics on which you would like me to make new videos. Thank you. Have a nice time ahead.